On time for once.
Yeah.
Welcome to the 42. It is Monday at 9 o'clock Eastern regular time. Chris is way in the past. Not only is he not here tonight, but he is in California on a work thing. 3 time zones earlier. So I'm sure he's losing his mind with the time jump. So instead of having Chris, we've upgraded. I like what you said earlier about box wine, but we've upgraded the show to have Andrew with us. Andrew has been on before. You might hear us talk about enough of his games. We'll be talking more about his game, one of his games coming out that we have. Andrew, thanks for joining again this evening.
Thank you very much for having me. I am happy to be the pinch hitter, and I am happy to downgrade the full 42 to a full 41. That's what I did.
No way. It's an upgrade. At least parallel. Chris is great. I'm not downplaying Chris at all, but it's definitely not a downgrade. That's for sure. Sam, how you doing? I saw your post of your pre-production copy of Button Kingdoms, and I'm extremely fucking jealous. Hopefully, you post more pictures of the inside of that box because it looks really good. Di, how you doing? Are you typing for Dave this evening? Is Dave mobile? Oh no, there's Dave. There we go. Hi, Dave. Hope you're feeling better, buddy. Steven, great to see you as always. Eric's got to be happy that you're wearing that hoodie jersey tonight.
Yeah.
Too. Yeah, it's been interesting. We can definitely get into some sports, but it's been interesting postseason so far, right? After one weekend of wild card craziness.
So last year was the best year ever as a Lions fan, period. No question. It's not even close. It was the best year ever. So this year is even better, and I can't be happier. So it was really nice last weekend to not be stressed about whether we were going to make it to the next round. And now I get to be stressed next weekend whether they're going to make it on past that. But yeah, just the team is just spectacular watch, and I'm so happy to have a team that's worth watching and worth rooting for the first time in a long time.
They've done some good things to that team. I don't watch often. I used to watch football a lot more. I usually only watch now the deeper teams get into the playoffs because those games kind of matter a lot more than like week 2, week 4.
Oh, yeah.
Although they come back to bite you, I think the playoffs have kind of like hockey, or baseball. Like I'll watch the Yankees, but I can't watch baseball. But in the playoffs, when things like really matter and things intensify, that's when it kind of gets fun.
And a lot like hockey too, when you play a really physical match, the next game is a harder get. And so there's definitely some carryover in football the same way that hockey does after a really physical match. And this year, the Lions have been doling it out so much that I think the winning percentage for teams following playing the Lions is like 20%.
Oh, really? Interesting.
They have a hard time getting up for the next match. It's that physical and that beating. So, yeah.
It's a physical game for sure. I think hockey, it's a totally different sport, right? But you get a week. Typically, you get a week off in between football games because it's a grueling. You're hitting constantly every play. Hockey is the same, and they'll go 12 o'clock today in the afternoon and play a game tomorrow at 1 o'clock, and they're right back on the ice doing it again, banging bodies and causing chaos. It's interesting, and like I said, going into the playoffs, it's totally different. It feels different when you have something like that on the line. Not that they don't, not to discredit the weeks that they play, but it just feels different watching teams. And I could watch any team in the playoffs because there's so much on the line for them, and you see them just leaving everything out there, which is in itself exhausting. Like not only are you playing the game and hitting, but you're leaving all your stuff out there from game to game. It's crazy.
Yeah, I feel the same way about playoff hockey as well as Olympic hockey, right? Like I feel like it's crisper, it's cleaner, it's sharper, and those guys just go just a little harder, and it's just so much more entertaining to watch that.
Yeah, the USA juniors got gold just recently too. In hockey, that is.
Yeah.
And then we got the next month is that 4 Nations. Did you see that thing?
I haven't yet. No, that's cool.
Yeah, 4 they're I guess they're pausing the season for a month or something. Okay. And it's Canada, US, Sweden, and Finland, I think.
Is this like when the US was against the world, like in the 1990s or whatever it is, and it was like an all-star game, and then now they're going to do 4, so it's like a bracket kind of thing. That's cool.
And it depends on if you win in regulation or you go to overtime and stuff like that. You get points, and there's a bracket, but it's going to be interesting. Breaking down for a month. You get bye weeks. or at least last year they had bye weeks. So I'm sure this is taking the place of that, but it'll be interesting to see.
Right.
Corey, good to see you. I have to agree with you. Being in New York, go Bills.
Hey, listen, I am full-on fan of the Bills too. Like I'm rooting for them on that side. In fact, my perfect Super Bowl would be the Bills versus the Lions rematch from 2 weeks ago. Like that would be ideal. I want to have that game again. That was a spectacular game.
Yeah, that's good to know that the Vikings are losing. Being a Packer fan, I like seeing the Vikings hurt. So Blues. Oh yeah, St. Louis. Yeah. The Blues. Not as bad as some teams, though. I won't mention. I've talked a little bit before the show, so I won't bring it up again. Yeah, Honolulu flu. Yeah, right. Speaking of the flu, I'm still sick, if you can't tell, from last week, which is super great. I'm glad that it's sticking around from the submarine. Nice. Yeah, that was a rough. Watching the Birds play the Pack was.
I have to say this though, as a Packer fan, you are one of the most spoiled franchises. You and the Patriots in the last 20 years have never had a bad season. So I don't feel that bad that you lose in the playoffs. That's not so bad.
No, it's just like the Yankees, right? Like once the mid '90s hit, the Yankees were on fire. But prior to that, I mean, it was what 77, 78 that they were doing good. Same thing with the Packers. Like I was younger, but my dad was bringing me up a Packer fan, and I was watching Don Majkowski, and they were just in the toilet every year. Like they were not. He was phenomenal, and they were okay, but they were like, you were a Packer fan, you didn't want people to know.
You could still count on 2 wins against the Lions every year, though. So there's that.
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah, but then they had that guy Barry Sanders come up, and then it was all bets are off.
Plus, if you live in Wisconsin, you got cheese curds, you got fish fry Fridays, you got really good beer up there. You're not doing so bad. That's
no, you just
spot to be.
You're missing everything from December to April, kind of like Central New York. All right, so tonight, like and subscribe. I already got that up, so I didn't forget. Good. Do the like and subscribe thing. Where's
the thumb go right in front of my face this time because I'm on
the
side? Oh, it's still blocked.
Still over mine. Still over mine. Unbelievable. Oh, geez, yeah. Yeah, so do that thing. Tonight we're gonna go. Same concept. We're gonna do announcements, and we'll do the Luca painting, and then we're gonna go over. And I'm curious, how we talked a little bit, but I'm curious how people receive this list because it could go two ways. And I thought about doing it one way, but then it could go another way. We're gonna do our top 5 travel board games, which
mean, is it top 5? I thought it was top 50. I have a top 50 list here.
Top 50. Yeah. You have to come up with 35 of them. I came up with 5 in no order. But before we get into that stuff, I'm going to flip the script a little bit on you.
Okay.
So I've been a guest now on Tabletop Submarine, which is you and Josh. You both have a podcast, which I don't know if the last one was put out yet. I don't have a link for it. Okay, good. And one of the things, if you don't know Andrew, and you've seen him on the show before, but if you don't know Andrew is always lurking in the chat. He's always making comments, saying hi, and talking about stuff. And we love Andrew. Andrew is a phenomenal game designer. He's pitched multiple things to me. He's got great ideas. One of which you've seen on a bunch of anticipated lists now for 2025 called Wine Cellar, coming out from 25th. And I'm telling you, the one after that from 25th and Andrew is going to be even better. If you like Wine Cellar and what it's doing, wait till the next one. So yeah, if you don't know much about Andrew does a lot of things really well. And when I was on the show the first time and then the second time, one of the things you guys asked me was one of my stories from the board game industry. And the first one was about Richard and Batman and Arkham Horror and all that thing. And the second one, I don't think we got to because we were a little, we get chatty when we get talking.
Of course.
But I don't know yours. So I'm going to ask you for a board game story from you.
So if you listen to the podcast, you've heard this before, but I just love telling it, so I don't mind. But I was diapers when I was first playing games at the hobby level with my dad. Like we were playing games like Bazaar and like, like elevated children's games, like not Candyland. I was way past that, but like, pretty decent complexity games. Like it would be like if I was playing Jaipur now, like it was that level of like playing games, not complicated, but not bad. And it got to the point one year, I think it was like 7, maybe 8, something like that. And there was a local board game convention my dad would go to. And my dad's a big board gamer. I mean, like pretty serious. I don't know if you've ever heard of like Puffy Billy tournaments.
Nope.
It's a whole circuit of people who just play railroad games and like all different kinds of railroad games. And then they rank each other based on which rail games they win in different categories. And it's a whole tournament thing. And like, if it's an Origins, it's done something like this, but like, yeah, it's a serious level of gaming. Anyway, okay. So he takes me to this convention and I'm starstruck just around seeing all these cool things. And one of the things that caught my eye was this gladiator arena chariot game. It's called Circus Maximus. It's a classic. It's been around for a long time. It's the kind of thing that like has like chits in it. So it's like almost like a war game racing game kind of thing. And you can attack the players next to you. You can bash into them. There's all sorts of modifiers and stuff like that could go on. And I was like, Dad, can I play? And he looks at me, he's like, you sure you want to? And I'm like, yeah, I do. I want to play that one. I want to play that one. And he knew that I knew how to play it, but he was looking at these like 40-year-old men who were looking all grizzled and kind of like tough. And they were looking forward to kicking each other's asses. And like, here comes this 7-year-old with this ticket. I'm in, put me in the spot. And they're like kind of laugh and like, oh, it's so cute. Look at the kids going to play. Do you even know how to play, kid? And I was like, yeah, I know how to play. Okay, great. That's even better. We have to teach the rules, all these things like this. So we start playing. And I'm a ruthless little kid because I'm a little shit. And really and truly, I start taking these guys out one by one around the track. And they're like getting flustered and slowly realizing that I'm actually the shark in the tank and I'm not the guppy. And I ended up winning that tournament. I ended up getting like a $30 gift certificate to like one of the local retailers in the hall. And I picked out a game and I brought it home and whatever not. But I loved that moment of being able to be the shark that nobody sees coming and take them all down. I will never forget that moment. And one of the coolest things about that is that it was a literal like stadium that was built in miniature. And we had little horses and little chariots and we took them around. You can literally visualize yourself circling the track and hitting each other. And they would flip them over when there were wrecks and then bring in little wreck pieces in the spots. And just one of those things that like, I'll just never forget the rest of my life. And I had a great time with that.
That's amazing. How old were you?
I don't know, 6, 7, something like that.
Amazing. That's awesome. Matty Pete, it is.
Hey!
Evan, how are you?
So many of my now friends, I'm so blessed to call my friends, are in the chat tonight. This is awesome. I love it.
It's pretty cool. I've said it multiple times. Maybe I haven't said it enough in a while, but this industry is full of some of the coolest people and some of the most genuine people I've ever met. And lucky that they take an hour, 2.5, 3 on Mondays to come hang out.
Absolutely. I strongly believe that at some point in time, we're going to take over a retirement home and we're going to all bring our collections and we're just going to game from here till eternity. That's what I believe is going to happen. Just a matter of which state we're in. I don't know how that's going to happen, but it's going to happen for sure.
Yep. Oh, Tom, if only, man. Is that Tim?
Hey, go Dome. Go Notre Dame.
Yeah. I don't know when the next game is, but I'm sure Tim is.
I am not a fan of the Buckeyes, which I usually say with an F. And so good. I hope Notre Dame wins that one.
Yeah. Yep. That's going to be interesting. I'm with you, Matt.
Also, I'm going to be going to Tantrum Con in about 2 weeks, and I know some people in this chat are going to be at Tantrum Con, right, Rossies? You guys are coming, right?
That may not happen.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Dave hurt himself.
Oh no!
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
His back is thrown out. I don't know how it happened. I can speculate, but I don't know how it happened. So he's got surgery soon. Yep.
Well, my thoughts are with you. I hope you recover quickly. And I just remember last year at Tandem Con, it was my first time ever going. And I met the Rossies in person. We played some games together. We had a great time, and I was looking forward to doing that again. So, oh well, that's fine.
Well, we'll have a couple other times throughout the year to hang out with them, I'm sure.
for sure. Just that was the next one, so I was just looking forward.
Yeah, it was. It is. It is the next one. It's a couple weeks actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I got some. I got a big stoke in the fire that I can't really talk about yet, but I will when I'm allowed to on camera talk about.
Are you gonna be announcing that one? Are you gonna be announcing that one at Gamma? I'm guessing because I'll be at Gamma too. And see you there.
I don't know if it's. I don't know when that one's going to be announced.
Okay.
But it's super fun. For me, it's something that I've been looking forward to for quite a while now, and I get to do it again. So
okay.
It'll be good. Can't wait. All the stokes. There's always stokes in the fire. It never ends. This year's going to be bonkers with the.
Same for us designers, man. We got to have enough things in the pipeline. I mean, like I've got 7 things now in successive order down the line, and I'm still pitching 8, 9, and 10, maybe 11, 12 on top of that. So yeah, I mean, like lots of stuff's in the pipeline.
Yeah, and it's weird. It's flipping it a little bit from my end, from the development side. I definitely feel my design stuff being put back on the shelf because I'm working on the development side of things, right?
Right.
So it is good to get those creative juices flowing on designs again. But some of those things are paying off years after, like that Tales of Myth and Legend from Van Ryder is going to Game. I think it's GameFound, one of the crowdfunding platforms. I forget what they chose. I think it's next month. There's Canvas Critters from us that's going shortly.
Yeah, that's gonna be awesome.
Oh, the Vast Grim one with Daryl and Adrian. Like this year is going to be a little bit. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be fun, and I love it. And I like having that design stuff coming back around because it's been a little bit too long.
Yeah,
but I'm looking forward to it.
Congratulations on like 3 years after they, get in the pipeline. It takes that long they come to be shown. It's beyond frustrating, but at the same time, I understand how much has to go into the place to get it there. So I understand.
Well, also, I mean, you can't predict some of the shit that happened with,
of course, not
delays and whatever. It happens, right? Especially on one side, I wouldn't understand it, but being on the other side of the curtain, like seeing how a boat gets stuck in the Panama Canal because of water levels for weeks, like it's not something you can draw up, but this shit happens. Like,
yeah,
it's crazy. All right, so what's next? I did the like and subscribe thing. Announcements. Do we have any announcements?
Well, we can talk about Digging for Dinos. That's my next game coming out from 3WS, and I'm super excited about that. And it's now got a BGG page, so you can go and check that. We haven't put any pictures up yet, but
not yet.
If you ever want to play that, by the way, I will have a copy with me at all the conventions I go to. So if anyone wants to play it, check it out. You can let me know. I'm
hoping because Gamma is end of February, 23rd, I think. I'm hoping the graphic design is done enough that I can have an updated copy of it, because the copy that we'll have at Tantrum, the one I have is still the one that you homebrewed on your home printer.
Yep.
Still works perfectly, but the graphic design of it is looking beautiful.
Sweet. Okay, good.
Yeah, so I'm hoping to have some more information on that. I don't know about the next 2 weeks for Tantrum, but for Gamma, hopefully.
Okay.
And that one's super fun. I mean, the one thing about your designs, there's always something in it that's just clever, right? It's not like, oh, this is just a regurgitation of something, or oh, it feels like this or it feels like that. In the Wine Cellar game, that bidding mechanism is just brilliant, and I love it. I think it works so perfectly. And in the Dino game, they're your archaeologist, and when you move the archaeologist, you flip it. And the way they move, either orthogonally or diagonally, depends on when you move them. So if they start orthogonal and you move it to another, like you move it up, it flips over. Now it can only move diagonally, and it creates such a fun level to the puzzle of how to get to where you need to get to do the set collecting.
Yeah.
So there's a familiarity with set collections, but then there's this element in it that just elevates it to a different level, because it's not just a set collector. It's this puzzle with this fun thing you get to manipulate. And it's really fun the way you do things in your games.
Thank you very much. But also appropriate for tonight's topic, that was always meant to be one of those kind of games you can take with you places. Like, it's just a bunch of cards and a couple of tiles. Yep. And you can set up a small space board, like in airplane tray table. If you want to set it up there, you can do it for a 2-person game, and you can play this game, and it's not boring. And you can play with kids too. It's not like it's a heavy adult game, but it's also got enough little take that element. It's got a little nasty blockage. It's a little fight in a phone booth kind of thing, but yet it's super accessible and easy because there's no bad turns. There's no it doesn't matter if you get blocked, you get something else. You just get maybe a suboptimal move, but over the course of time, you then turn the tables back and get it in a different way. And so, yeah, I have this little thing where I really want to build more games that are travel friendly. I won't say they're travel games, but like games that are not difficult to put into a Ziploc bag, throw into a bag, and take with you wherever you go.
Right. Yeah, and that definitely is Dinos. I mean, it is a deck of cards, but it's more than that. Like having the element. If it was just a set collector with cards, okay, cool. But having those little bits that turn that act as your archaeologist and the way they flip over, it's really smart.
Thank you.
I don't know. Can I? There's no pictures up on BGG, right?
Nope. And I don't think you wanted me to put any up yet, so I didn't.
No, but I'm curious. I might. Well, I don't want to take too long. I might be able to find something.
Well, I can run upstairs and grab a copy of the game and show it if you want me to real quickly.
No, because didn't we play it on the show?
I don't know. I don't remember. Maybe we did. Yeah, probably if you look back in time, I think maybe.
I think we played it at one. Where the hell is the thing? I thought I had a link to it. I have at least the cover, the new cover, but that might be up on there's a Gamma preview page on BGG if you go to.
Yeah, it is.
The picture of it should be.
I actually don't know if it's up on Gamma yet, but I know it's on BGG and you can see the cover on that.
Yeah, that's going to be more the graphic design style of it. It just pops. It's very sleek. They're doing a really good job on it.
Awesome.
I think we played it. If not, we should.
Okay.
And
I'm always down to play that game.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm not going to waste time doing it.
Evan, sometimes you just smack it up and then you flip it, and then sometimes you got to rub it down.
Then you rub it, yeah.
Oh no! For those who are old enough to get that joke.
Yeah, that.
Yep, that's the one.
Yep. All right. So I don't have anything that I can talk about yet anyway. Okay. I mean, obviously con season's coming up. So we got Tantrum coming up. We got Gamma coming up in February. Yep. March is mine, the small one. Mm-hmm. In March, there's April, which is the Gathering. May, I think, is the first month that doesn't have a convention. And then it's Origins and Gen Con planning and the chaos. All of a sudden, the year's over, right?
Yeah, that's how that works.
How many are you going to this year?
So I've got so far, and I haven't played out the entire year yet, but yeah, Tantrum, Gamma, and then I think I've got Geekway to the West, which is one of my favorite middle-level conventions, and then Origins and Gen Con. And then after that, it might be a lot of family obligations for the rest of the year. So I don't know. We'll see.
That's a good yeah, you can see Steven when you go out to Geekway.
Absolutely. I mean, if I were to get an invitation out to a gathering of friends, I would definitely do that, but I've not been invited to that club yet, so I can't.
So, yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. Look at this.
I know. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, then I'm going to see you a bunch of places. Yeah. Nice, man.
Especially in Syracuse in September, right? Like you're going to come here.
Like I said, I have some family obligations. I'm going to try to do it. It's on my attempt to do it, depending on whether we are in the country or not.
Fair enough.
If it's a quick flight, I will do it. If it's not, I might be in Europe or Cyprus or wherever I am with family stuff. So that might be different.
I would pick Cyprus over Syracuse. Syracuse in September is really nice, but you can go to Cyprus. You can go to Cyprus. Nice, Evan. See? Syracuse in September.
Love it. Trust me, you don't need to convince me to go. It's just whether I'm accessible to it or not. I'm there if I can be. Trust me. I would book the ticket tomorrow if I can guarantee I wasn't going to be in a different place.
Yeah, somewhere else. It's just a quick flight from Cyprus to Syracuse. It can't be that much.
Right. It would be like 3 flights. Yeah.
Yeah, seriously. All right, let's hop into the Luca painting.
Yeah. Get your Rorschach test in for the day. I love it.
There it is. So I say it all the time now. It's getting quicker and quicker. But Luca, who is now over 3, has been doing watercolor paintings on canvas for over 2 Decembers now. And what we do on Mondays for a little while is look at a painting that he's done and figure out how crazy everybody is. Tonight's subject is Andrew. Usually it's Chris. And then obviously everybody in the chat. Yeah. Right. Alan, find me a place. Let's talk.
Ooh, Costa Rica. Okay. All right. Now we're talking.
Find me a place.
I'm down.
I'm just catching up on some of the stuff. Yeah. So Luca's painting. We look at a kind of Rorschach test and discuss what we see. So everyone in the chat will start talking about stuff that they see, and we'll figure out what's wrong with Andrew tonight. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. This was recent. This one was January 7th.
Okay.
Here it is.
And in the spirit of Chris, I will refrain from answering until some of the people in the chat answer first. But I think I got an idea on this one. I think I do.
Yeah, it's an easier one.
I mean, if it is.
It depends. Yeah.
I mean, I'll say that the bottom looks like grass. I'll say that. But outside of that, it could be a whole bunch of things.
Sure. Oh, yeah. Baby B will be there. You and the Kiwi folks are having babies about a couple weeks apart.
I'm assuming Matt means he's inhaling style,
yeah.
Right?
That's
an apple tree. Okay.
That's a good one. Evan, that's good.
Pink Easter grass flying away. Okay, yeah, like the tufts inside the baskets, right? Just flying out. Okay, I can see that. A Luft balloon. Okay. But it's not 99 of them, right? There's no 99 Luft balloons.
Okay. No, we'd have to copy paste 98
Yeah,
more.
We would definitely have to copy paste that and get that there.
Yeah.
So for me, this looks like a pink black hole sucking in the birds and the squirrels, and looks to be a snake that just flew out of a tree. And that's what I see. I see a pink black hole. That's what I see.
Interesting. So this is the snake?
Yeah, it's come out of the tree. It's being pulled from the tree, which is just off camera, and the bird is being pulled from the branch, right? And then the squirrel yanked off the ground. That's how I see it there.
Okay. All right.
No, Stephen, I've never been okay. It's what makes me cool.
Yeah,
pink black. It's what gives me my power of game design, right? Like you can't be normal and be a game designer. It's not how that works.
Yeah, no, you can't. Tulips.
Your brain has to be broken in a very specific way. It has to be broken and snapped.
And put back together.
Nice. Purple tulips in the spring. That's nice.
I like it.
Look at Brandon being all poetic.
I like it. I like the ideas. I originally saw a bee's nest.
Okay.
Hanging from the tree.
Sure.
Like there's the sun and there's your grass and there's like a butterfly, whatever, but here's your bee's nest hanging from a branch. And then when I just put it on the screen, I saw Navi from Zelda. Now I know Navi's blue. I get it.
Right.
But I see that little fairy popping up like to give you information. I don't know, like something with the wings or I don't know.
Well, I mean, I said it was a pink black hole. So, I mean, I just went right with the change of colors automatically anyway. So there you go.
Yeah. Well, you make up whatever the hell you want, really.
I mean, I guess Kirby is actually a pink black hole. So, yes, it's not.
Yeah.
Technically, Matt was totally right. I just saw it. Yeah. I saw it late.
Yeah. Yep. So that was just January 7th.
All right. And we've decided we're going to pepper an entire wall with these at some point in your life. And
at some point, I mean, they're not very, like, you can see the glue isn't really sticking, so these can come off pretty easily, and they don't have to be like on that wooden frame. Right. But I don't know. I gotta do something with them because there's a lot of them now. Also, yes, that is my text tone on my phone. It's the most appropriate one I can think of. Like when you're getting information, why not have Navi tell you to listen? Like it just makes sense. All right, so there's Luca's painting. Thanks for indulging in the chaos. You ready to do the thing?
Sure.
All right. The hot topic for this evening, the reason that we're here, not the reason that we're here, but something to give us a roadway through while we're here. We wanted to do, oh, I could shut off that, hey, listen, I guess, huh? Yep. The our top five travel board games.
For
We
me,
talked
I
a little,
travel constantly, either with
dude,
my wife, without my wife, these convention stuff like this, and I'm always going places that are cool, and I feel like I have a blessed life. Don't get me wrong, but one of the hassles of that is that you can't always get a good gaming experience on the go, and sometimes you're gone for a week or 2 weeks or whatever it is, and you definitely can't always take your collection with you. So I have gotten good at packing a bunch of games into a space about this big.
right? That's good. That's good. I remember. I don't remember what. I think it was Origins actually, like years ago, before the pandemic. I was hanging out with Gilmore, and he broke out this what they called a quiver. It was the first time I had heard of what a quiver
Oh
was,
yeah,
and in it he had like 30 games, and I'm like,
yeah.
what? Because you just break down the boxes. You don't need the inserts. It's a deck of
Mhm.
cards here, a deck of cards there, maybe some dice, maybe some dry erase, and he had this hit 30 games in a quiver, and I'm like, that's just I can't do it because I need to keep my boxes. Like that would I would start switching. But
Right.
it is really cool when you can figure out what games are quick, easy, fun to get to the table, don't take up a lot of room in your bag, but
Mhm.
have a lot of impact on the table, something you can play multiple times, still have like replay value through them.
Absolutely.
Um, and at the top of the show, I said that this can be thought of in multiple ways, and I wanted to we talked a little bit about before the show about this, but the travel board games, which we've already decided are the next time you're on, will be
Mhm.
our top five games you can play while traveling at the place you're traveling to, or a place you can travel to. Um, how you approach this list, and you did basically what I did.
Yeah, so I love the idea of, by the way, going places and playing the game. Like, the first time I saw that happen was somebody had Carcassonne in Carcassonne, and I was like, "Oh, man."
Yeah.
Life goal right there. I have not accomplished that one yet, but I will. But for tonight, what I did was I thought about games that are good to take with you, that can be compacted down small enough, but also provide an experience that isn't a one and done, right? So if I play a game and I don't want to play it again for another week, that's a horrible choice. Like, you should not bring that with you.
No.
And there are so many games out there that can be travel games that, like, this list to me was about doing it in different ways. Like, for instance, if I'm going to the beach, it's a totally different game than I'm bringing on a cruise ship, or if I'm going to be staying at a hotel resort on land with a table somewhere, like a dining room table that I can play a decent sized game. If I'm playing in the sand, or if I'm playing like on a lawn somewhere, or on a hike on a rock that's a little rounded. Like, there's different games you're playing at different things, and if there's wind, that takes cards right out of it. So you got to have games that you can take, that you can play with windy areas and stuff like that. So I came up with 5 different travel games for different areas.
Do you do this? Do you know those little
Uh,
photo cases they have in the?
I have that for some of my prototypes and for my prototype pieces, but no, I don't take that suitcase
Yeah.
of photo boxes with me, because I got to make it more compact than that. I get it like down to like 6 or 7 inches by 7 inches square. Like,
Yeah.
basically, if you take almost any expansion box, which, by the way, is my little tip, by the way, take an expansion box that you don't want anymore and use that as your travel box until it gets beat to hell, and you get another expansion, and then use that expansion box as your new box to do that with. Like, I
Yeah.
did that with Splendor, the expansion, which was not a very good expansion, but I used the hell of that box and I took it everywhere. And then when that was beat up, I moved on to another one. So yeah, there's a good way to use those boxes and just throw them away. Unless you're one of those people with OCD and has a basement the size of New York, and you can just stash all the boxes down there, then you get ahead.
I do get rid of expansion boxes. I mean, I keep them for prototype, like for reasons.
Sure.
But expansion boxes, I'm okay with getting rid of, um, as long as they fit. Obviously, if they fit in the base game, then I don't need the expansion box because I don't want to take the box and the expansion box to game night. I just want to take the box to game night. So I will do that, and that's a good idea. Get rid of a good
Plus,
use for your expansion boxes.
most of the time when you add the expansion to the game, you don't ever go back, right? Like, I rarely ever go, well, I'll play the base game without the expansion unless I'm showing it to somebody new. And even
Right.
then, person I'm showing it to probably knows games well enough that I don't need to worry about whether they can handle the little extra mental load.
The only game that broke that for me was Arkham. Arkham Horror, for reasons. Arkham Horror, I have multiple copies of at different stages. So I have 2 full versions of all of stuff. I have one that's just Arkham. I have one that's just Arkham and Dunwich. So it depends on where I'm going and who I'm playing with. That's my, okay, you haven't played before, let's just do the base. Or, oh, you played a couple times, I'm going to introduce you to the Dunwich Horror. But yeah, like Scoundrels and Skullport for Waterdeep is like one of those things that you should be able to play with anybody that's playing a board game at that point, because it's so easy to implement. There's one extra rule about the corruption you got to remember, but other than that, it's pretty easy to get the expansion into the base game.
And in general, I feel like a lot of publishers shave off pieces to make it a little more accessible, but really don't have to. And a lot of those games, when you put the expansion in, it makes the game what it should be rather than what it got shaved down to.
Right. And so with our Batman game, it's funny, it was the absolute opposite. Our Masterminds of Mayhem actually made the game better. And that was not on the radar when we first put the game out there. And we had the feedback of like, oh, your Mastermind should do something better, or you should do something else with this. And we're like, oh, that makes sense. And then we went back in and looked at the Masterminds and made the Masterminds like do something and feel a little bit more special than just a more health villain. Like they were flat in the base game and then the expansion. But I do know some, like, here's all the stuff. And then some companies will be like, all right, well, let's keep this stuff back and we'll put this out. And like Veil, no, not Veil. What's Mystic Veil? It is Veil. Mystic Veil was one of those things that was like, that was the introduction, but the intent was Edge of Darkness the whole time. It's interesting.
Well, that's the other thing too, is that, as a designer, you can only play test so much before it gets into hey, shaving kit packages are also great ways to put the games in there. Put them in shaving kits. That's cool too. But you play test the game 100, 150 times. Publisher gets it. They play test it maybe 50 times. We're talking about 200 times kind of at max. Then the instant it's out in the public, it gets played 1,000 times the first day. So at that point, you're going to start getting feedback from people who you would never have expected to get feedback from. And it only makes the game better. I mean, I could play test until I'm blue in the face, but it doesn't make sense after a certain point. I need to get it to the public for them to make it any better past that. And that's what the expansion, the first one, usually does. If the game is good, it makes it just that little bit better and takes all that feedback and applies it right away.
When you're invested in the game, especially your own design, or when you're the publisher, you're already like, you're taking things for granted in your head because you played it so many times. Mm-hmm. Getting it into the public and seeing those first couple blind play tests are one of the hardest things, right? Because you're watching, you're not allowed to say anything. You got to let them have the rule book and you let them have the game, and you're just like, all right, I'm going to sit back and take notes. And that can be the most excruciating time of your life, but could also be really good and rewarding because you're watching them do stuff that you didn't anticipate that actually makes it more intuitive or easier to get to the table, or stuff you haven't thought of. So that's always fun too.
Yeah, I try to get as many different kinds of playtesters as possible. Like, friend of the show, West, broke my Tulips game in a specific way just by being the take that jerky guy that he is. And I was like, okay, got that to fix. Thanks very much for pointing that out, because I would never have found that. So yeah, I mean, that kind of stuff happens. But yeah, that first playtest of people you can't talk to, it's a little racking, especially when they make that small error in the beginning that like changes the dynamicism of everything. And then all of a sudden I'm like, well, then none of the rest of this playtest is even valid because you messed that up. So I got to fix that rule book.
Yeah, it comes down to the rule book too. Directions are interesting. Thanks, Matt. I appreciate the tease. That's nice.
That's a nice little tip.
It is. Yeah. That's true. It's true. That's why I like co-design. You try and find someone that's the yin to your yang, right? Like someone that's going to balance you out. I know Math and I've said it on the show, Math and I haven't gotten along since I was in 5th grade. So if I can find someone that's good at balance and math, they can help me out with the stuff that I struggle with. And it goes both ways too, right? Like it's always nice some people don't like to do that. Some people like to have it's me, don't talk to me. I'm not going to listen to you. It's my way. Don't, whatever. to each their own, I guess.
I'll say this about that real quickly. Yes, you have all control, but you also, it takes 4 or 5 times the time to get to where you need to go than with a co-designer. I have found that my co-designs are the fastest moving projects because it's not just me working on them, it's somebody else. And they have playtest groups that I don't have access to. And I have playtest groups they don't have access to. So we're playtesting at double speed. And so it makes it there much faster. I haven't done a 3-way co-design yet, but at the same time, I feel like, yes, you get a little less of the money that comes back from it, but it got there twice, if not 3 times as fast. So I'm happy to do it that way.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, 3 is, I mean, it depends on who you're working with, right? Like if the people hold their weight, like it does, you can do 3 people, you can do 2 people. I mean, if you're that type of person that can wrap their head around something, do 1, but
it's just like any other group project though. You gotta make sure you pull right.
Yep. Everyone gets the A, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so our topic, travel games. I went with easy to travel with. You have limited space. We are lucky enough to go to multiple conventions a year. I am lucky enough to drive to most of them. The last one I flew to was when Gamma was in Reno, and that was just a mess. But I'm lucky enough that they're close enough to me that I get to drive to, so I don't have to really worry about space too much. But it is kind of like I feel it when I get to the hotel and I start unpacking the car and I got my luggage and I got this and I got that and then I got this bag of games. Oh, I have this other bag of games. Oh, I have this bag of prototypes. So it is nice to downsize when traveling. And I did wrap my head around, all right, if I was not driving, if I was flying somewhere and I had my luggage and I had my carry-on, which I just watched Carry On last night. If you haven't watched that on Netflix, it was really, really good.
Was it? Okay. I need to check that out then still.
Jason Bateman is, I mean, watch it. It's great. Really worth it. But this was before I watched the movie. I thought of like what I could pack into a carry-on, and I let that be my guide for what I would bring with me. And then I went like kind of what you did. Yours is even segmented more, but I wrote down like what the components were of the games that I chose.
Okay.
Because when you think about like what the box size is, but what's really in the box, it's not really that big. It's this big.
Right.
So yeah. Yep.
Okay, that's enough people that I need to check it out. I'm really late to the bandwagon. I'm finally watching Slow Horses. Everybody's been talking about this in my back channels for long enough that like I need to see it. And I'm like 5 episodes in, and yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I got to get that one. I still got to watch. There's so much I got to watch. That's a whole nother episode. Okay, so
sorry.
Why don't we go with where's my banners? Oh, I don't need banners. I have media assets because Chris is much better at doing things. Cool. Why don't we start with our number 5? Oh, now you have the thing. No, we're not going to do that. We're going to put you over here.
Yeah. Okay.
Shouldn't cover up your name.
That's fine. You can cover me up.
Nah, I'll just go back to my ... stuff.
There you go.
Why don't we start with you and what you have as your number 5 and why you chose it?
All right. So when I travel, right, it's usually just me and my wife, and the 2 of us. We play when we have downtime, whether it be, after dinner, we don't feel like being out and about, or it's rainy day or something like that. Or sometimes you just want to chill a little bit. But then there are other times when you want to be sociable, right? And usually if you're in an area and you want to be a little sociable, but you want to play a game or something like that, I don't just want to break out a party game. Like that's not how I want to roll with things. So I picked a game that came out this year that I think is one of the perfect everybody can play game that's not a party game, and that is Flip 7.
You're gonna do it. Yep, that was one of the ones I knew you were gonna talk about it, and I didn't have it. It's on my list, and I didn't have it as one of the ones I'd talk about.
Literally this year we were on a cruise, and my wife and I were playing it during having drinks at the bar, and while we were playing it, 3 other people walked over and be like, "What the hell is this?" And we're like, "What's a simple game? This is what happens." They're like, "Can we play?" And we're like, "Absolutely." So we got 5 of us playing it, and then 2 more people come over. Can we not jump in? We got 7 people playing it. Like it was the kind of thing that brings people together. And if I were to design Flip 7, it would be bad because I would want to do too much with it. So this designer did an amazing job of doing just enough with it to give it the interest and the intrigue and the replayability, but without making it complicated. And it's a beautiful, elegant design. And so kudos to him. Chef's kiss. We've already had a group of people that we are now friends with because we were playing this game on a cruise.
Yeah. Such a great pick. It's come everywhere with me. It's 94 cards, if I remember correctly.
Something like that, yeah.
It's an oversized tuck box if you have the promo copy, but it fits it fits in a tuck box, like a Magic the Gathering kind of tuck box.
Yep.
And like you said, the rules are simple enough where anyone can get up and playing it. The replay on it is you want to do it again. It scratches a beautiful itch with the way the gameplay works and the way the card draw works and that push your luck element that's in it. I got a promo copy at Gen Con. I bought 2 copies at Gen Con. I got another promo copy at Gen Con when I went back and got another copy of Gnome Hollow. And then I just bought 2 more copies at PAX. Like, it's one of those things that you want to have. You know the cards are going to get just warped because you're going to play a lot of it. And it's like a $14 price tag. It's bonkers. It's so good.
And I think eventually, I'm hoping that this turns into being the Uno, where like every house has a copy of this thing 20 years from now. It might take a while, but that's my hope. And yeah, I think I've probably sold 10 copies to people I know by this time.
No, it's such an easy one. It really is. Great pick. All right, I don't have to talk about that one. That's fantastic. All right. So yours was a deck of cards.
Yep.
I'm going to equal yours with another deck of cards.
Okay.
I prefer the more modern version of the game than the original. It depends on your theme and what you like. So technically this is a twofer. The original was 2017 called Fantasy Realms.
Ah, yes. Okay.
The more modern was 2 years ago as Marvel Remix. I think Marvel Remix, not only for theme, I think they streamlined it even more with the icons and the connections between cards. But it really is, it's a deck of cards. On your turn, you either draw from the deck or draw from the discard pile and then discard to the discard pile a card. And if the discard pile ever has 10 cards, game's over. And your cards want to make points with other cards that are in the deck. Certain cards want to be with certain people. Certain cards don't want to be with certain people, like villains and good guys, like in the Marvel realm. But Fantasy Realms is more fantasy-esque and Marvel is Marvel themed. So you can pick whichever one you want, but it is a deck of cards. You don't need the expansion for Fantasy Realms, although it adds enough to it, like we were talking about, where anyone can really play it. It's one extra rule really with the books, I think, or artifacts, whatever they're called. But it's a super quick game to play. It's over so quickly that you want to play it again. You're like, oh, okay, let's do that again. And it feels completely different the next time you play it.
Because there's different cards come out. Yeah.
Yeah, your hero is an X-Man, so you want to whatever, or you're trying to go for that one card that's going to get you like, oh, I have these in my hand. If I can get that one more, then I get this 30 points or whatever. It always feels different every time I play it.
This is one of those games that has been on my radar, and I've not actually had a chance to play it with somebody yet, and I need to someplace. So whoever's at Tantrum Con, make me play this game, please. I'm sure it's in the library there. I got to try it.
It's a good, yeah. We should play it while we're there.
Oh yeah, Eric brought up Red Rising, which, by the way, that's a great book series. If you haven't had a chance to read that one, it's a good one. And yeah, Red Rising is a theme that I would prefer probably, but if it's simpler, I might want to go with the Marvel one for a little more complicated.
Oh hell yes, Red Rising is unnecessary. There's a board and a track system, and
okay.
You can go back to one of my earlier rants about Red Rising.
Just put it in your hand and call it, huh? Just that's it. Deck of cards in your hand. Okay.
Fantasy Realms or Marvel Remix, perfect. That's exactly what you want. Yeah, good book series.
It is.
Yeah, the promo copy, it's the same thing. If you can get your hands on a promo copy, which I don't know if they're doing anymore, it was just an oversized tuck box, but it's the same game as in the one that you'd buy. And it was great. It was great. Like just getting it out there. That he's talking about Flip 7 too.
Yeah, that the reason they had the big box, from what I heard, is to have a little more shelf presence and make it look a little more grandiose, and it gives it that nice shine of the box. The light actually hits it. If it's a tuck box, it can be hidden away versus that. So I understand why they did it, but yeah, you can just get that box, discard the box if you want to, or if you have OCD and you got to keep it, you keep it. But I think you could easily put it into just a tuck box or whatever and just take it with you. You can wrap a rubber band around it because you're going to beat it to hell anyway. So you're going to play it 100 times in the first month and probably need another copy after that. So yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, you could sleeve it if you really wanted to, but just buy multiple copies. It's $13, $14, I think, from the op. Like it's a really, really well thought out game. It's simple. It's got a little bit to it. It feels different every time you play it. It's a good one. All right, so Marvel Remix. I prefer Marvel Remix just because I'm a Marvel fan.
Sure. No.
Fantasy Realms work perfectly fine. I can wrap my head around the Marvel world and Magneto and Mystique and Wolverine and Sabretooth and how they don't get along. Where in Fantasy Realms, it's fantasy theme, but you got a little more gap to fill in that one.
Right.
All right, number 4, sir.
All right, so for me, it's the easiest to take with you is the roll and write genre, right? So like it's a couple of dice and you got a pen, and I laminate and I use dry erase markers, whatever, as far as that goes. And my list could be 30 different games that are like that. But there is a game that I think is better than most, and I think it is an underappreciated gem for a lot of people, and it's Voyages from Postmark Games.
Ooh, okay.
This one is, I think it's 5 or 6 maps at this point for $5, and you can print it out at home and laminate, take it with you, whatever not. But really what you do here is you roll 3 dice. One of them is the direction on the compass, and it's a 6-pointed compass. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 around the dial. One of them is the distance you travel on your boat. And then one of them is marking off spots on your boat on the left-hand side. And you're making that choice 3 times every time you take a turn. And it's simultaneously, so everybody can do it at the same time. But it is an ingenious little game from Postmark Games. And they have a lot of great games. They have a bunch of them I can't think of right now, but Matthew Dunstan and Muldoon are the team on that one, and it's great, and it's just a clever little game. At TantrumCon last year, Josh and I, for Tabletop Submarine, we did a group game of this with like 30 people in the room. We had a great time doing it. We had inflatable dice that the audience members chucked at us and hit us in the head with, and then got the roll, and then they were marking their sheets off, and it's a great game. And because there's multiple maps, they get increasingly complex and multiple things going on. I can just play the starter map with people and have a great time. It's enough chunky game there, but then you add in a next layer and a next layer, and it gets deeper. And all you need is 6 sheets and the same 3 dice.
Huh. I have not heard of this one.
Huh. Definitely recommend it. Yeah, Postmark Games, go to their website. I think it's $5. You do the print and play files, and you're good to go. You can even use your Yahtzee dice because you just need 3 standard D6s. Whatever you got laying around will work.
It's a good thing I do dice at GooseCon every year. I have plenty of dice.
You can use those.
Huh. Okay. Interesting.
A couple of honorable mentions here, though, just because I got time. Let's do That's So Clever. 1 through 4 is great. And one of the ones I think is a hidden gem, by the way, is called Crisscross. That's a Reiner Knizia game where you roll 2 dice and use them like a domino, and you place them on the board. So they have to be next to each other. So if it's like a squiggly line in a circle, you have to put them next to each other, and then you try to like make multiples in the lines and the columns, which is really kind of a nice little puzzle on that
one. Well, because I forgot, because I normally don't do this shit.
There's the Flip 7.
There's Flip 7. It's a brilliant game. It's so well done. I don't know what picture to pick. These are the 3 action cards you have to teach. Like, it's really not anything.
Yep. That is the most complicated part of the game.
It's not. It's not at all, which is fantastic.
Self-explanatory is what it is, which is great.
This is...
Yeah, do the Marvel one. Though. Don't do fantasy. Do the Marvel. I want to see that.
Well, just so you get an idea, like...
Okay.
These are the kind of things that you get. Like, this is a bonus if it's for each weapon and artifact, and things are named, right? So, like, here's an artifact. So if this was in your hand, at the end of the game, you're scoring all your cards. This would score you 9 points because you had another artifact. And if you had more weapons, you'd get more points for it. And this one's +9 for each beast. and it's green.
Okay.
Like the word green, beast is green, and here's a beast that's green. Like it works really well in the combos of how the cards all work. Like it all makes sense, but because I'm a nerd.
Nerds are the best people. What are you talking about? Because you're a nerd.
We're pretty good. This is the way. Yeah, this one might work. I might zoom in. Yeah, you can't really tell. So it's got the same exact kind of thing, like plus X if it's with Y kind of stuff. But then it does the icons a little bit better. Like when you're splaying it out in your hand, you can kind of see like what you also have a hero, and your hero is going to react to certain things. But then there's also places. So this is in a different language, which is fantastic.
Right.
See, this is why Chris does this. But yeah, this would be my pick. Like I love the way that this. I like that this streamlined a lot of the stuff just a little bit more.
Is WizKids still selling this? Is this still in print?
I want to say yes.
I hope so, because I need to get a copy of this if that's the case. I gotta check it out.
It's only 2 years old, so and it's WizKids, so I'm sure it is.
Okay.
Or just go to their website. There you go. Amazon, $20. Noble Knight, 14.
I totally agree, Brandon. Postmark Games does a really good job for what they do. They basically do print and plays almost exclusively, and they can deliver immediately. So they do a Kickstarter campaign. They make like $1,000 and then send out the files the next day. It's like really smart.
Yep. I do have Geek Mail. There's 4 messages are codes for badges or something. I don't know. I hardly ever do it. And then I'm trying to buy a game from somebody. So I think they responded, but I'm not going to get distracted by that, Steven.
Don't do that.
All right. And then we talked about your number 4 was just on the screen.
Yep.
Voyages? This one.
Voyages, plural. Yeah. 2021.
Right. So Flip 7 and Marvel Remix were our 5s. This Voyages is Andrew's 4. Yeah, it looks pretty neat.
This one is specifically good though for like an airport tray table, right? Like you put the laminated sheet in front of you, you got the pen, you roll the 3 dice in like a little cup or a box or whatever, and you just share with the person next to you, and then you both throw your thing out, and yeah, you can play a couple of these. It's great.
Nice. Well, I'm gonna have to look into this one. This looks fun.
I agree, Brandon. I have waypoints, but haven't tried yet because I'm too busy playing Voyages still. But that's on my list.
All right. So my number 4, I will see your Voyages and raise you to Trails.
Yeah.
I adore this game.
I wonder if it's on your list.
It's on. If I can put it on every list, I would.
Well, I remember watching you play it live on your show, being like, "Oh, this is pretty cool." So I made my own. I went ahead and made a Batman version of this game, and I sent you the file. So we have a little homebrewed Roads of Gotham, is what I call it, instead of Trails of Tucana. But yeah, I made a little Batman version.
I do have that little Batman version. But these are the components. This is what you got. You got your dry erase map, which, as you already mentioned, being able to laminate it makes it much easier. There's a thick pad. They're double-sided. There's a small and a big, a petit and a grande. But on your turn, you have these are your setup cards, and they set up the villages around the board with the letters. First player starts with 12 o'clock, whatever that 12 o'clock one is, and then every player around goes one letter over, one number over. So I would start at the 1, you would start at the 2, Chris would start at the 3, and you go through that, and that sets up your villages. And then every on a turn, and it's a flipping right. You flip over 2 of these terrain cards, which if I don't want to zoom in too much because it gets blurry, but the breakdown is right here of the deck, which I think is beautiful. You know, if you want to do the card counting or you want to know, there's only 2 wilds in the deck. You want to mark when the wilds are out, you can. But you flip over 2 of these terrain tiles, and your job is to just draw a line between the center of 2 adjacent of those terrain. So if it's desert and forest, you can draw a line right here. If it's water and mountain, you can draw a line right here. Your objective is to get these relics back to the villages. And depending on if you're playing the short or long version, you'll either go 2 or 3 rounds doing it. Every time you get a relic back to a village, you'll circle these parts in the orange. And then at the end of the deck, there'll always be 1 card remaining. In this game, you're going to shuffle the deck. You're going to go through the deck twice. At the end of the first round, the first deck through, you'll score all of these points in this little orange area. So the earlier you can get them to the villages, the more points you're going to get out of them. And then if you can manage to find the second relic, so these obelisks or these jacked up Yetis, you can, when you circle this one, you get a free road. So that combo nature of, well, now I do this, which gets me a free road, which I can do here, which gets me a free road. And then on top of that, if you can complete villages A to A or B to B or D to D, not only will you get those points, but there are these cards which will get you, if you're the first one, will get you extra points. And if you want to play with them, if you can connect like this, both toucans, you'll get extra points too. This is a module you don't need to play with. But super simple, easy to play. I've brought it out just recently at the New Year's event that we had, and it hits well every time I play it. I still love playing it. I play this one a ton. There is an expansion for it that isn't necessarily easy to get. It did not have a great North American release because it came out in 2019, so just before COVID. And then how that all that shook out. But this game is so fantastic. Oh, why don't I take that down? Why don't you yell at me and say, Mike, take down the messages?
Well, because I'm paying attention when you're just talking about it.
Unbelievable. Derek, how you doing, buddy? Have we played this? I think we played this. I'm not sure if we played this.
On the show, you absolutely have. That's how I saw it.
I love it. I love this game. It usually comes with me. Like if I see a copy in a flea market or something, I usually there's another, I won't mention it just in case. There's another game that when I see it, I try and grab multiple copies of it because I play it so often that the lamination of it is cool, but if I have one in the library, I have one that I can take with me. I don't have to worry about like going to my library and finding it. Yeah, I love this game. So yeah, my number 4 is Trails of Tucana. And again, like yours was a laminated sheet with 3 dice. This can be a laminated sheet with, if you have a writing utensil, and then a small deck of cards. There really isn't much in it.
Like 12 cards or something like that, right? Yeah.
So it's easy to get through. Yep. Yeah, so that's my number 4.
All right. So going to my number 3, I was thinking about what would I do if I go to a place that it's too windy for cards, right? Like you can't play cards, got to be chunky, heavy bits, something like Quirkle or something like that kind of thing where you got to have some weight to it to keep it from blowing away. And my current favorite abstract is Boop. I think that is, with the little chunky cats, you don't actually need the cushion. You don't have to take that. You just need to take the cats themselves. And you can draw a little grid on the table on a piece of paper, and you can do it. Or you can draw, like if you're playing on a rock formation, you could take another rock and scratch the grid and play Boop there. Like this is the game that you can just take the cats and you can find a way to play.
That's true. Yay, Boop. It is what we talked at the top of the show about stories like board game stories. And I remember at Origins, I think this was 2 years ago, I remember walking to Baron 2 and I see Scott just chill. Like he's standing next to the table. Boop is on the table and he's just chill, like totally relaxed, just whatever. And there's a column to the left of where the table was. So I didn't see who he was playing against. He's playing against Evan Derrick from Van Ryder.
Oh, okay.
Totally different mindset on the other side of that table. He looked like if he was sweating at that moment, I wouldn't have been surprised. He was like anxious and like really into the game and like thinking about what to move. And Scott's just like a hand in the pocket, just like chill. And Evan's like racking his brain and he looks over to me and he just kind of gave me a nod. and then he broke Evan's brain. Like, he put a cat down and it did a thing, and Evan fucking lost his mind. Like, I walked up at such a great moment to watch Evan just crumble. And Scott was just like, it looked like he had just been playing with him the entire game. It's a fun one.
Yeah, this is the kind of game where the first time you play, you get caught off guard. The second time you play, you get caught off guard. The third time you play, you get caught off guard. Before you learn it, before you understand the process. And for this reason, I thought this would be my wife's favorite game of all time. She hates this game because she's constantly being caught off guard. Yeah. And my wife is the kind of person who actually is one of the smartest people in the room. Like, she would never say that. She doesn't believe that, but she actually is. And so for her, it's really frustrating to be caught off guard by something as simple and as elegantly deceptive as this game is. So, yeah. And yeah, great pick. Shobu is also another game that's like this, that you can take a couple pieces. It will not blow away. It's a great pick, Stephen. Also by Smirk and Dagger. And my friend Alex Cutler is as a big state champion of this at North Carolina last year. So he owns the North Carolina championship on that.
That's actually a game that you can play without bringing the pieces to vacation with you. You can just get, like, you can draw, like you had said, draw this on a piece of paper. You can draw it in the sand, grab your shells, as long as they're, like, you can distinguish which ones are whose player.
Right.
What a great, I had played Shobu first. And I get it. Like, I wrapped my head around it pretty quickly, figuring out how that all worked. But the way Boop works is another level. Like, Scott did such an amazing job at this game with the way they push everything. Like, it's just, it's amazing. And yeah, all three, haven't played Boop the Halls yet, but,
and now the Christmas version. Yeah. With the tree, with the 3-dimensional aspect, and then the balls there. I can't wait to check that out. I have not had a chance to play that one yet. Yeah,
what a good pick. Good pick. Yeah, this one breaks my brain when I play it, because whatever you put there, you're moving, whether it's your piece or not, you're moving. And all you got to do is get 3 of your cats in a row. It seems pretty simple. Man, it's a good one.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
What's your number 3?
My brain already breaks with this one. Jeez. Okay, so I'm gonna stick with the flipping right.
Okay.
And this game, it came out in 2019. I still play the hell out of it. It is a deck of cards with some dry erase markers.
Okay.
Has to be dry erase markers. Cannot be a piece of paper or whatever, because you're writing on the cards.
Yep.
Silver and gold.
This is a game that I own, and I have still yet to play it. It's sitting on my shelf, and I think I've taken it on vacation 3 times, and I've just never actually played it.
It's so good. It's one of my favorite Phil Walker Harding games. I mean, he's got a bunch, but it's such a good, again, replay value. It feels different every time you play it.
Yep.
Your objective is obviously to get the most points, but you travel to a beach, you're treasure hunting on these different islands with these maps. And in flip and right style, there's this deck of, I believe there's 8 polyomino shapes, the square, the long, the L. And you flip one over, and you're going to do 7 of the 8, I believe. So 1 isn't used every game. And then whatever that shape is, you're going to cross off on one of the maps you have in front of you, and you're always working on 2. This looks like it's end game, so these are all ones that they've already accomplished. But on your turn, so let's say it was that 2x2 block, right? I can do these 4 over here, or I can do these 4 in the middle, or these 4 over here, whatever I want to do. Or if this was my other map, I can do it over here. What you're covering up, you get to, there's some combo moments there. If you cover up a coin, you get to cross off a coin, and there's a race to these trophies. If you cover up, which I don't see here, there's these palm trees.
Yeah.
Yep. The palm trees will give you a point for the palm tree you cover up, and then any palm trees that are in the center, 4 cards, the other maps. So determining when you want to trigger your palm tree based on what's in the center will get you more points. But you can only do that 4 times in the game. And then if you cover up one of the red X's, that's just a free X. Like with Trails of Tucana, you get that free trail that you get to do. This is just a free X, so you can start comboing into stuff.
And get those corners you had a hard time getting into. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Yep. And then there's a little set collection bonus. So these are all the purple, and obviously these are purple, green, orange, and gray. But then some of them have this little extra added bonus. If you get more of that type, you get more points. So if I completed this 14 with this 2 orange, I might want to start going for more orange cards because I get more points out of them.
Right.
Every time I've played it, it's been great. It although it's very similar every time because the maps are slightly different, and there's some that are a little bit more challenging. The points are how many squares are on there, so the eights might be easier to do, but there's no bonus points and you're getting through them quicker. But you spend a little bit more time to get those 14s, you're getting more points and more benefits, and it's just super simple. So it's a small deck of cards with your scorecard, like what you're scoring, and then dry erase markers. So super simple to throw in a bag, very small bag to get this one going, and it's still one of my favorites. I adore this game.
Yeah, that's a great pick.
Yeah, I need to bring it up. We need to play some games in Charlotte, buddy.
Yeah, we definitely do.
Or at Gamma.
Yeah, all those things plus. Yeah.
Yeah, silver and gold is one of my favorites.
We just need to not have jobs and then just hang out in the retirement community, and that's what we're gonna do.
I like the retirement community thing.
We're just gonna pick one and we're gonna take it over.
Yeah, I'm good with that. Yeah, this is one that gets thrown in the bag every time.
Makes sense.
Yep. The dust markers.
Oh, there's like a residue that comes off of them.
The best part is the dust markers. I will say they are some of the best markers in the industry. Like Monstrosity has some good ones. These are my favorite. The dry erase markers from Silver and Gold are fantastic. I don't know what the dust markers are. I'm sure he'll tell us in a second.
Sure.
All right. So Silver and Gold was my number 3. What was my number 4? It was Trails of Chicana. Okay. So we will go back to you on, what did he say?
They don't leave anything behind. Oh, yep. I got you. Yeah.
Yep. Easy to wipe off. Yeah, and you're drawing right on the cards.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is number 3. Let's go to your number 2.
So my number 2 is a cards only game. So literally the smallest it can possibly be is a tuck box. But there are so many great ones in this genre. Like if I just had cards only kind of thing, there's so many great games I could pick from. In fact, Wine Cellar was designed to be that way, where I wanted it to be just cards you take with you and you put in your back pocket, whatever, as far as that goes. But I didn't pick that one for this one. This one I picked is a relatively new one that was so much deeper than I expected it to be, and it's square cards. And the trick about this one is you lay them down in order, but you score them backwards. It's far away.
Good one.
Yeah. And I heard there's an expansion that I cannot wait to check out as well. Anything that makes this more complicated is going to break my brain a little bit more, but this game has a ton of replayability because of the bidding. It's because you have to choose whether you're going to lay down a lower card to get first pick.
Yep. But
if you play a higher card than the one before it, you get a bonus card. And there's just this really cool push and pull that goes with that. And then the aspect of dark versus light and the color combinations, and then the symbols, the little antelope horns, and then the blue crystal, and then the pineapples, upside down pineapples, whatever those things are, whatever. Yeah. So this game is brilliant. I actually don't own a copy of this yet. I've been playing it on Board Game Arena, but it's only a matter of time. Before my next trip, it will be picked up at my local game store and taken with us.
That's a good one. Yeah, that bidding mechanism again, right? You got the card you need, so you got to play a low card to get it because somebody else might. Or I'm okay this round. I'll play a bigger one so I can get more stuff out of it. And then that chaining, right? The way that the cards work with each other and get you more points based on what's out there, and it's a good one.
But the real hook is the playing it backwards when you score it. Like you got to get enough symbols at the end to score the things in the middle to the beginning, and that's an entire thing that the first time you play this, it will break your brain. You'll be like, wait, that's not, I scored 10. Like, how did that happen? Yeah, that's how it works.
But also playing them in ascending order too, right? Because you want to play a number that's higher than your last one in order to get a benefit from it. But when do you break that and play a lower number and then start up your rail again? There's a lot in this one.
There really is. So heavy replayability, which I think is key, especially if you're going to be on vacation somewhere and it's a rainy day, right? You're going to have to burn the day. You can't go out and do jet skis in the rain or whatever you want to do as far as that kind of stuff goes. So you find a nice little table and you play a game, and maybe you brought 3 or 4, but those 3 or 4 have got to be interesting for at least 2 plays each, right? Like you got to have them like carry the weight.
Yep. Yeah, this is a good one. And every card is different, so this game you play is going to be completely different than the next game you play. You might not get the right symbols, you're not getting the right bonus cards, you're not getting the numbers, like it's going to feel completely different. You got to be able to adjust, and it'll be a different puzzle every time you play it.
Exactly.
That's a good one. Good pick. All right, so then if you want to go square cards, I will go square cards.
Ooh. I'm a fan of square cards, especially if they have dinos on them. That's just me. How I feel about things.
My pen just rolled up. Yeah, the dino card. Having square dino, they have to be square, and there's nothing else we're doing with those.
Good.
This one's going to be hard to get. This one's not readily available. It is, I think, a Polish company that had a Kickstarter, and I've never seen a copy. I struggled to get my copy. A friend of mine showed me it, and I immediately needed it. But it is square cards. I might have talked about it on the show before. It's called 9 Minute Kingdom.
Oh, and Eric, yes, you're definitely right. It is number 4 because you square it backwards. That's right.
What happened?
Hit Eric's comment.
Oh, haha. Yep. That's good. Well done. Hey, buddy. How are you doing?
Hey, there he is.
How's the West Coast?
Yeah.
Are you okay? Is everyone else okay?
You are missed.
Yeah.
I'm doing my best I can to pinch hit here, but
yeah. You're doing great. You're doing great.
All right, 9 Minute Kingdom. Tell us about it. What's up?
You are missed, buddy. Yeah, so 9 Minute Kingdom. They are square cards. If you can get some of the bonus stuff that was out through the Kickstarter, it has module after module you can add to it. I have all of the things, and I have yet to play with any of those things. I consistently play the main game. The main game is a 3x3 grid. You are playing 9 cards in this game, and you are drafting those cards. So you're given 9 cards. I'm sorry, you're given 10 cards. You always have choice at the end. You will play one of them to your grid, and you will pass, and then you get new cards, and then you'll play one of those, and you'll pass. So you're cycling around the what's in the game. When you play, you're playing them to your grid of 3x3, and the cards look like this. They are sometimes 2x2. They're mostly all 2x2. They'll have a little bit of wonkiness to them with these curved roads and stuff.
Sure, okay.
But you're playing them in a 3x3 grid. So once you get that third in one of the columns, like you've now maxed out how wide it can be or how tall it can be. Right. You're trying to play based on. Let's see if I can find some.
Yes, we are, Chris. We're missing you terribly. It's absolutely true.
Of course, always. Oh, okay.
This has got a little bit of like castle combo kind of thing with the 3x3 grid, but it's also got a little Sprawlopolis feel to it. I dig on this. This is kind of cool.
I haven't played Castle Combo, although I've heard many people talk about it recently.
Yeah, it's kind of my new addiction, even though I think there are some weird tweaky flaws in it. I think it is absolutely a brilliant design, and it's just a matter of figuring out how to mitigate that with maybe a house rule or two, but it's brilliant. It's really, really smart. And actually that one just missed the list. Just missed it. I'd say it's number 6 or 7 on my list.
That's pretty new. I'm curious. Yeah, I want to know more about it. All right. So in the beginning of the game, see this one with the circle?
Yeah.
That one's always in the game. You're always playing that one. That one's called the King's Road. Okay. But then of the other scoring cards, which are around here, there are these symbols. There are the colors. There are big circles of a color and small circles of a color, and you don't know what's in the game. You shuffle and you deal them out, and then they're there the entire game. So you're playing towards public objectives, and they're as simple as who has the most knights or who has the most windmill. Okay. And then if you look at your cards, you'll notice that there are knights.
Oh, there they are. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So you have this one. Oh, is this the one? Am I on this one? Oh, I am. There we go. Perfect. So there are 4 different colors. There's blue, yellow, red, and green. And if you notice, there's these numbers, right? 0, 1, 2, 4. Then on the back of it is this 7. So this one's flipped over. This one's flipped over.
Because they've got.
And you notice there's the little pips next to the numbers. That's how many of different ones you have in that realm, in that terrain.
Got it.
So in blue, you'll find these 4 symbols plus the big castle on the back. And the more you have, the more points you'll get. So if you can get 4 of those 4 different ones or 5 different ones, you'll get 7 points. This person has the knight, the small castle, and the church. So they've got 3, which gives them 2 points. And then in the red, they have the giant castle, the little castle, the church, the tower. They have something else? They have 4. They have to have, if they flip this over, they have to have another one. Am I missing one? I might be missing one.
No windmill on this one?
Not that I see.
Yeah.
Anyway, the more of the symbols you get in that terrain, the more points you'll get. But remember that circle I showed you that I said was the King's Road?
Right.
See the dots in the road? You're trying to trace one line without doubling back from the dots. The longest road gets those points for that card.
Okay.
So you're also trying to connect your road to make sure that you have what ends up being the longest King's Road, depending on however you can trace it. So if you started here,
right,
you went 1, 2, 3, 4, and then maybe 5, 6, 7, 8. However you did it without doubling back. But you're only playing
to take it to ride, yeah.
Yep. You're only playing 9 cards. I mean, 9-minute Kingdom. If it makes it to 9 minutes, I'd be maybe with scoring, it makes it to 9 minutes. It's super quick. It's super compact. Really, I overtaught it basically. And then if there's a tie with any of these, you don't get the points. Oh, there we go. If there's a tie for whatever, no one gets the points. So you either want the majority or you don't get it. And then this would be like the most red or the biggest green, or it's super simple. And it's such a fun game. Again, every time it's come out, it's been a hit with the people that I played it with.
Yeah, this looks like an amalgamation of a lot of things that I like. It looks like a little Hanju in there. It looks like a little stacking, not like stacking, but like the grid mechanism and then different scoring things. And yeah, this looks cool. Check this out. So it's hard to get, huh?
Yeah, not super easy to get.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know if there's any in the marketplace. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, $15 is not bad. $20 is not bad.
Nope, that's well worth it. I definitely paid more.
All right, so even though it didn't make my list, pull up Castle Combo because I want to talk about this because this might be my newest obsession. I think in the last week or two, I've probably played 20 of these. This is one of those games that like is a 6-minute game, and yet somehow I cannot find a way to be good at this game. And so there's some luck there, but at the same time, it's always just kind of uncovering this little extra thing. So you're making this 3x3 grid and you're drafting cards one at a time from the 2 rows up top. And there's a little messenger guy. You have to look at a different one to see the little row on top. But there's 3 cards in the castle section and 3 cards in the village section. And the messenger is on either the village or the castle. See how it's there? So if it's your turn and he's on the castle, you can take any of the cards from the castle row to pay the coin cost in the upper left-hand corner, right? So the one next to the messenger is 4 and then 4 and then 2 or whatever as far as that goes. And then each of them has a power, which is the spot below the picture. So for the 4 in the green one, they get a discount of 1 for every villager they buy after that. So there's a little tag there. Yeah. So that means they get a discount on villagers going forward. And then below that is almost always an end game scoring condition. So in that case, they get 2 for every non-equal shield. So there's 6 different shields in the game. There's like I think purple is like the church, blue is the castle or like the royalty, red is like armory or soldiers. I think yellow is farmers, orange is artisans, and I think green is scholars. And there's different combos of these things. But you're literally just paying the cost and putting it on your little tableau. But if you look down to the middle of the villages one, it scores 5 if it's in the most right-hand row. Or the one over from that, it scores 2 for every yellow in that row or column. So you're trying to like combo them. So you do them in a way that they both end up getting their scoring or maximizing those scorings. And it's this great little puzzle. But you play with about half the cards. So you're not going to see a majority of the cards even come out, which means you really got to pivot and just play as it goes and hope for the best. And it's just such an interesting puzzle that just, for me, ends up being a replayable thing constantly. And if it wasn't for the little coins and little keys and the fiddly bits of that kind of thing. And so when I'm going to take this on the road, I'm going to end up making a double layer track. And I'll have coins and keys and a little cube that I just move up the track and move back up and down and track it that way. So it makes it easier to do. But I mean, this game is so great, except for the getting, keys and coins lost in the sand or whatever under the table. Except for that, this game is really great. And it's just a deck of cards if you can take that out of it.
Huh. Okay. Yep, they're all loving it in the chat too. Huh. Okay. Yep, that's on my list. That's all right.
Also, if you want to try it out, it's on BGA, but also this game plays incredibly well as a asymmetrical play, where you play or asynchronously. So you take your turn, and then the other person takes their turn, comes back to you. You can just re-examine the board. You can re-examine the combos, pick your thing. It's like 2 minutes in and out, and you can play in the course of an entire day because it's only 9 turns. You're only taking 9 cards.
Right. No, I like that. Quick, easy. I mean, you want to play it again. Same thing with 9 Minute Kingdom. Like, it always feels different, and you're playing it. You want to play it again because it's quick. It's out. Let's do it. Shuffle. Do it again. It's like flip 7. Shuffle. Do it again.
But also, you're only going to see half the cards every game. So, I mean, if you play 5 or 6 times, you'll see all the cards. But you can't count on 12 or 30 of the cards even coming out that game. You might see 5 of those 30. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's neat. That's cool. All right. Well, now you got Voyages and Castle Combo on my list. Thanks.
All right. That's not even my number 1. That's just an add-on.
Now we're going to go to number 1.
All right. So this is my wife and I's obsession. This is not a game that you can take to the beach. It's not a game you can take anywhere windy. But I absolutely adore Forest Shuffle. And there is now a second expansion. So the Alpine fixed some things, and the Meadows fixed some other things. And so, as far as I'm concerned, you need all 3 all 3 versions of this game. But it does bloat it and makes it thicker, so you got more cards.
Right.
But this tucking choice thing is brilliant.
Yeah.
So you have to put a tree down first, and then once you have the tree down, you can put things above the tree, below the tree, to the left and right. But you have to pay the cost of it, and the cost is other cards. So I'm constantly making that push and pull about choosing, okay, I really want to get this out, but it costs 3 cards. And if I give 3 cards of the right color, I get an added bonus, like the bear. If I get the bear all yellow cards, then I not only get to take another turn, but then I get another card on top of it. But if I don't play it with the yellow cards, if I play with like a red and a green or whatever, as far as that goes, then I only get the first bonus. I don't get the double bonus.
Right.
And so you're constantly playing that little game of chicken as far as that goes. And of course, when you put those cards out there, they're now available to your opponent. So now I got to kind of Arboretum style. I can't give you the card I know you want because you're going to pick it up and then play it on me. So there's this really cool little thing. And even though every game has a lot of the same cards over and over again, that internal combat of fighting against yourself to hold on another round and maybe I get another card that I can use instead, or maybe I can get that secondary combo. And then, I waited too long. And then, this happened and that happened and you pulled that on me. And there's just this really cool thing that goes on. And every game you kind of have to find that strategy of that game, but you can't plan it ahead of time because you may plan on doing something like, there's the strategy of playing the deers or something like that. You may only see 3 deers the entire game. In that case, that's not good. Now you got to pivot to the birds. Well, I'm going to play the birds this time. Well, maybe I only see, 6 birds this game. Now I got, it doesn't work the way you think it works, and it plays brilliantly at 2. It plays better at 3, but it plays brilliantly at 2. And the thing about 3 is it makes it a shorter game. So the more players you play, the quicker the game goes, which means the games are tighter. You have to fight harder to get the things you want. Otherwise, the game's going to end on you, and it's really brilliant. And I can't say enough good things. This is my current obsession that I will now buy anything they give me because I cannot. This gives me, not Arc Nova, but it's a full medium game in a deck of cards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm curious. You said that the other 2 expansions are needed or not needed?
They're not needed per se, but with the first game, it's easier to pick a strategy and find a way to execute it than it is when they added more things. They added more trees, they added shrubbery, they added more bats, they added more different things like this. And so with the other expansions, it took some of those initial strong strategies and evened them out.
Okay, that's good. I played the base game and I liked it. Pardon. Not familiar with what the expansions are bringing, but I did feel like it needed something.
I think this does fix it. And although they say you shouldn't play the Alpine and the Meadows together, I say hooey with that stuff. Just play the whole thing because it actually made the game better, almost Castle Combo style, where like when you take out a third of the deck, now I can no longer guarantee that the bears are even going to come out this game. Because the 3 bears might be in the deck and you'd never see them. So you can't count on playing those things. And I think that makes it more a pivot with what you got, find the right combo what you got. And I think that makes the game better to dilute the deck in different directions.
It's good to know. Cool. Good pick. I did like it. I did enjoy it. Yeah, I'm curious. I gotta look into the new stuff. That's good.
Yeah, Dave, that's true that I heard that, but like I said, I think if you put the expansions in there, it dilutes those specific strategies to make them less valuable.
You technically don't need the board either, right? Like
no, we don't take the board.
Area. Yeah.
No, the board sits in the box at home. We just take the deck of cards in a Ziploc bag. That's all
makes
we
sense. That's a good one. All right.
What's your number 1? I'm chomping at the bit here.
This is tough. So there are a couple, and we'll talk after, that I want to talk about, but
me too.
There's caveats to them, right? There's some that there's reasons why.
Right.
But for my number 1, it was going to be Flip 7.
I stole it.
I'm going with Similo.
Another one I have not played, but I've heard a lot of good things about.
It's so good. You can play. So any one of these decks would work. And now they started getting into IP decks. They have Harry Potter. They have Fantastic Beasts. They have, I want to say, Lord of the Rings. But you can grab any deck and play it. Some of them are easier to play with multiple people because of the thing that it is. Like history is a really tough one to play because some of them you need to know history. Although the cards, like you're just playing with what's on the cards. But the objective of the game, you there's 12 cards. You're doing a 4x3 grid. You are either the clue giver or the people that are guessing.
Oh, okay.
You can play with multiple people, so it's cooperative. You all have the same objective, but there's one person that cannot talk and giving clues with cards only, and then everyone else can talk about whatever they want to try and figure out what the hell the clue giver means. And then every round you are eliminating cards from the 4x3 grid, from the 12 cards. What you do first is you look at a card. If you're the clue giver, you will look at a card and then shuffle that in blindly with 11 more cards from the deck.
Okay.
And then put them out in a 4x3 grid. So you know the target. You know what that is. So if we're playing Fables, and the one card I looked at was the genie, then I shuffle in 11 more cards and put them out. I know the genie is the one you have to save till last. That's the target. Up until then, everyone else that's playing now needs to start eliminating cards. Round 1, you eliminate 1 card. Round 2, you eliminate 2 cards.
Okay.
And me as the clue giver, I am using 5 cards drawn from the rest of the deck to give you clues on what to eliminate. And I can give you clues 2 different ways. I can put a card vertically, which means the clue, something on that card, has something to do with the target.
Okay.
Or I can put the card horizontally, which means something on that card has nothing to do with the target. So if the card was Snow White on the box and I put it sideways, you can interpret that as male, female, red, green, human, not human, like whatever, however you want to do it. But I'm trying to give you an idea, if I turned it sideways, that she has nothing to do with the target. So you can eliminate something other than, like, something that's familiar with her, right? Maybe another female character like Red Riding Hood, or maybe a character that had a lot of red on the card, or an apple or fruit, or however you were trying to interpret it. And I have to stay silent the whole damn time.
Right.
But that'll be round 1. So now for the rest of the game, Snow White is turned horizontally on the table as a clue to remember.
Sure.
Yeah, but no, we can't do that because they have something to do with, or they don't have anything to do with Snow White. Then round 2, I give another clue next to now Snow White, say, either vertically or horizontally, to try and get you to eliminate 2 characters from the grid, and then 3 characters from the grid. It ends up at the end of the game, there are 2 cards left, and you have to pick which one it is. And at any point, if you codename style, if you eliminate the target, you're done.
It's got that Codenames vibe for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Cool.
And to make it even trickier, so you can use anything on this card, right? So this is animals, right? Again, with the different languages, whatever. This has maybe an orange background with yellow stars and paw prints. So these are green and green. This is, a bird versus a cat. But then they have, especially with the Fables one, there's the year it came out, what it's from. So if you don't know certain characters, the villains and the heroes are both in the deck. So if you don't know they're from the same story, you can read and see, oh, no, wait, they're both from the same story. So Aladdin and the Genie, if I put one down, maybe they're similar.
But if you're familiar, it can be language independent. You don't actually need that. That's kind of cool.
Correct. 100%. To make it even, if you want to elevate it, the advanced version of this is you use one deck for the targets and you use another deck for the clues. So if we're using Fables as the one with the targets out there, and there's 12 different Fable characters out, and my target is Genie, I take the animal deck, and now I have to use the animals, 5 of them that are in my hand, to give you clues to get you to pick the Genie.
That's brilliant. I like that.
Oh,
that seems so difficult, but kind of in a cool way, right? Like,
it's great.
Your success rate went from 70% down to 20%. That's interesting.
Oh, way down for sure. I've tried to do myth with history as the clues, and Fables with history as the clues.
That's
it's
cool.
nearly impossible. But yeah, like this can be like, if you're playing this game, you have these characters. Are they wearing a hat? Are they not? Are they brown hair? Are they not? Do they have a dark background? Like it's all up to interpretation of the crew, and you're just agonizing because you hear them talking themselves out of the thing.
Right.
I love this game. It's another one of those that comes with me. My decks are all right there.
Okay.
Like, I love it.
This is your absolute number one. No question. This is just the best there is.
I can't say that.
Of course. All right.
Mine are never in that order.
Of course not.
But Similo is really, it's got, for me, it had the same kind of punch as Flip 7 does.
Okay.
Where, like, you're sitting at a table and you're playing, and you're going to have those moments that are going to call people over. And you could teach it to them as you're playing the game. Like, even though you're the clue giver, if you know the game and you're running it, you can tell them what's going on. So I'm going to play a card. I'm going to do it this way, which means this card has nothing to do with this card, or this card has something to do with the card. And you can teach it right at round 1. By round 2, you can shut up and everyone else knows what's going on.
Okay.
But it's also, I mean, it's a tuck box of cards. Like it's nothing. So
I can see how small the deck is. Yeah.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
always
So it's another one of those really quick, really easy to get into kind of games. And you're playing it with almost anybody. Like you're just putting concepts together, really.
I actually like that both of our lists only had the one crossover. We had a lot of different stuff, and you had a lot of stuff that I've not played yet, which is cool. I like that a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah. We got to correct that. Yeah. Flip 7, that one was a gimme. Like that's an obvious, that's coming everywhere with me no matter where I'm going. But yeah, this one's a good one. It's a favorite of mine. I love it, and it's super quick. And you're playing it like you play it with family. You can play it with friends. You can play it with as your opener or your closer or in between while someone's setting up Andromeda's Edge. You can be like, boom, here's Similo. Let's play around. Like it doesn't
Right.
take long. But so my caveats.
Yes, I'm looking
Because
forward to this.
I did say that there were a couple others that I wanted to talk about. The problem is a lot of them rely on a certain number of people to be able to play the game not correctly, just at its best, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Cockroach poker is one of my all-time favorite games.
Not a two-player game.
Cockroach poker, you're not playing two-player, and you might not even play that with people that don't understand. There's a concept in that game that doesn't come out right away, right? The bluffing mechanism in that game, when okay, I don't want to have 4 in front of me. That's great. But the looking and passing or accepting and saying no or no, that's not apparent right away. And that game can flop hard with the wrong crowd. Same thing with Skull. Skull is another favorite of mine that you don't necessarily need to bring with you. You can just use at the bar with coasters and just mark an X on one of them.
Mm-hmm.
But again, that concept of you're leading to bluff or you're leading to get somebody or you're leading because you want to be the guesser. That's not necessarily apparent right away. And Fake Artist goes to New York. That's not something you're playing 2-player, obviously.
Yep.
I wouldn't even play that with less than 6. But there's that concept in some of those games that are just, you need to have a certain amount of people, super compact, super easy to take with you. And if you're going on a cruise with a bunch of people that you know, or you're going to a resort, or you stay with family, like these games can sneak in, but they're not necessarily, it really depends on what the destination is to get these games to the table.
No question. And I definitely have honorable mentions that are for different player counts, right? Like I play 90% of the time with my wife and I have to make sure that it hits for both of us that way. But yeah, if you bring a third person, fourth person in, I have a different thought process between the games as far as that goes. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I love the game Colorful. I have multiple copies with me. It's one of those that I'll give as a gift because it's easy to play. I like to play it the way we play it. I don't like to play it the way the game it says to play because there's like points involved and it's not really about the points. I want to get the 5 things in a row across the table. I don't care at the end who has more right and who gets the points. I want to play it the way we play it. I do love Colorful, but Similo is really easy. Like you either fucked up or you didn't. Colorful is like, all right, well, we're going to play this game, but we're going to play it a little bit different because we like to play it this way rather than the way the game's supposed to be played. A little different.
You don't have to preach to me. I am a big believer in house rules. If you play it enough times that you understand the game and you can understand what the designer was trying to do, and yet maybe he didn't or she didn't quite hit the mark,
right.
A little tweak in scoring or a little tweak in, or take this card out because we don't like this card. And we like Arc Nova. I think I've taken 6 cards out of that 400 card deck or whatever, not because we like every time it comes up, we don't want it.
Right.
And so I would rather get to the cards we would rather play. And with 6 cards out of that, you won't notice them. You will never remember they were ever in that deck. And then we have more fun with it. I am totally on board with that. It does not take away from the spirit of the game to do that.
And sometimes they don't. It's as if they just didn't show up, right? The deck's so big that the card's not going to come out anyway. So
it doesn't ruin anything. Yeah, it's just that game or no game ever has that card in it. Just happens to be shuffled to the bottom.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's a good one. The only other one on my list, well, there's 2. Have you played Saint Malo?
Another one I need to play. It's on my list of like part of my doing the games that I do as a designer is I need to research these things, right? And like so I have a extensive list of games that I want to play and will get to play whenever I get to play them. And usually at the cons, I try to hunt them down in the libraries and pick them up there. But I also have to find people who want to play them with me. And usually the hotness gets the preferential treatment. But
Sure.
yeah, it's on my list of ones to play. So tell me all about St. Malo.
It's another easy one to take with you. It's a handful of dice, a dry erase board, and a main dry erase board. So you can play it on your flight. You can play it on the restaurant table while you're waiting for your apps or whatever. It's a little bit longer. Like it's not on here because it does. It's about 45 minutes to an hour, I would say.
Okay. So it's a heavier roll and write.
Little bit, not like Hadrian's Wall heavy.
Right. Yeah.
Jesus, totally different. But yeah, you roll your dice and you're trying to like, depending on what comes out of it, you're writing letters in your forget what they call it, courtyard, I believe, inside the walls of your barracks. And you're putting in like the merchants want to be next to multiple things, and you're whatever this letter wants to be next to these letters, and this letter wants to be next to. You're trying to do these combos and get points based on where you're putting them, but every round or every 3 rounds, the pirates are going to attack, so you can't like neglect your fortifications and your cannons and stuff. So there's a nice balance between how am I going to use them this roll. I love that game, and it's easy to take with you. It's a couple dry erase boards with a main board and some dice, but then you need your dry erase markers. The only reason it didn't hit was because it is a little bit longer of a game. So you're not like Flip 7 and Similo, you're playing really quickly. So even if someone's not having a really good time, the pain's over real quick. The only other one, and I didn't talk about it, it is only a 2-player game, usually good for people that travel as couples, or if you're going to with your friend. Jaipur. I love Jaipur. Yeah. One of my favorite 2-player games. That and
definitely on my honorable mention. I mentioned at the very top of the show. Like that's a classic too that I don't get tired of. That's a great
Jaipur
one.
is great. That's all I had on my list.
So I have, I don't know, like I said, 50 different ones on my honorable mentions, but I'm not going to go through all of them. But there are some ones I do want to call out.
Your top. So now we're going to go over your top 5 honorable mentions.
Yes. So, I'm going to pull out some ones that are not obvious, right? There are ones that are classics that everybody knows. Like nobody's not played Lost Cities at this point, probably. Like that kind of thing. It's a deck of cards, easy, whatever, but it's great, and I constantly recommend that one. But I'll bet a lot of people have not played Maori. Why don't you pull this one up?
Oh, Maori. Good.
This is an old one. Gunter Burkhart did this one. This is tiles. Oh, nice. And it's a tile drafting tableau style building game where you are building and placing islands in your personal tableau. And this is one of those ones you can just get. It's a sleeve of tiles, Carcassonne style. And you just need a couple of seashells, which you could get from the beach if you wanted to. If you don't take the little pieces with you, and a tiny little boat, which can be marked by anything. And when you pull this up, I can show it on the board a little bit. But
oh yeah, I'm not sharing anymore, am I? Sorry, I pulled it up, and I forgot I wasn't sharing the screen anymore. There you go.
But for the longest time, this was one of the ones that we took with us, and it is just what's really clever about this is that on your turn, you move the boat around the outside of that center board, right? And that center board is what you have access to draft. You can move 1 or 2 spaces, but you can only move in the one direction clockwise. But you can pay shells to move inwards. So if I moved 1 space up and I paid 1 shell, I can take that 1 that's the second from the bottom in that column instead of the outside 1. If I don't have any shells, I have to take the outside 1. And then each island piece has palm trees, which are points, huts, which double the palm trees on the island, or there are shells and different kinds of things like that. So you are literally playing those islands on your board, trying to fill your entire area specifically to make sure the islands are finished. And so you can get more points by having the long islands, but they take up more space and are there sometimes kind of hard to finish. So there's this little kind of quick and pull pushing thing. But then also you want to make sure you have the shells. And if you have the most shells, you get bonus for that. And if you have the most boats, The boats are what allow you to move around faster. So once you have another boat, you can now move 3. And if you have another boat, you move 4. And so you can kind of circle the island much faster and get better choices based on these different boats. And it's just this really cool, really simple, and it's just Carcassonne level of complexity, but a fun little game. I really like this one. And we have only taken this one out of the travel quiver because we've played it, I don't know, 300, 400 times. And there's nothing like, just for years we've been taking this on vacation. And it's especially in like a tropical climate, it just feels like it fits. Yeah. You're just like, you look out in the water, you're like, yeah, I'm putting an island out there. Like it's got that kind of cool thing. And if you don't finish the island, it sinks. So you lose everything if you don't get both bookends.
Oh.
And the trees have to be oriented properly. So you can put an empty spot, like on the left, there's a hut and a tree, and below that is a plain one. The plain one you can put in any orientation you want to, but the trees have to be in the proper orientation.
Interesting.
Definitely some serious hate drafting in this game too, where you're trying to move people to a spot where their next choices are not ideal choices and have to pay a lot of shells to get more inland. And there's also volcanoes that come up that block movement, so you can't move across the volcano. So if that ends up in a corner and you can put them before the corner, they're going to move one spot to the volcano, one spot around to the volcano. They're still on the volcano. So they got to pay another shell to move further down the line past the volcano. So there's definitely some interesting tactical movement on this one. It's a really cool, highly recommend. Most people don't know about this one. It's an older game, but I think it's probably out of print, but I can't imagine it's expensive. But if you pull, check it out, see what the geek market has any.
That's interesting. None. Oh no, there they are.
Yeah, 40, 25. That's about right for a tile. Like Carcassonne, kind of what you would pay for that.
Well, yeah, 45 US. That's Germany. That's British. Yeah. Okay. So still holding value.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's mine.
Maori. Okay. Good pick.
Another one that I really like is an interesting one because, everybody likes Alexander Pfister, right? Like we all like Maracaibo and like something like that. We like that heavy kind of thing. One of his earlier games is a card game called Oh My Goods.
Oh, yeah.
It's a little engine building game where there's a lot of luck involved. But what I really like about that one is the push your luck element, where like every card you flip over could end the day and then you don't get nearly as much stuff. And it's just this cool little thing. I haven't played it in a long time, but this one ends up in the bag just in case we get bored of the other stuff we take. And once again, it's just a deck of cards.
Yep. Again, with the different language, but you get it.
I don't think Pfister speaks English very well. I tried to get him on the show once, and he's like, I can't do an interview. I don't speak well enough English. And I was like, totally get that. So, but
yeah, anyway, that's a good one.
Another honorable mention most people don't know about. I really think that one's a great one.
That's a good one. Yeah, still holding 2. That's good. Good picks.
Yeah, Eric, you can throw Hive Pocket up there. I think Boop is better than Hive Pocket, but that's a great one for when you don't want things to blow away, and good one that way.
That's where I thought you were going when you were talking about wind and no cards and being on the beach or whatever. I started typing in Hive. I thought you were gonna. I definitely thought you were gonna go it that way.
So another one that I would definitely recommend that everybody knows anyway, but it's Azul, and they have a travel edition. And the travel edition is really cool because they have a little clear plastic board with little bubbles in the back. And then all the tiles have a space that the bubbles sit on. So it actually holds its spot on there.
Do they not have it?
Azul Travel, maybe?
No, I typed travel. It wasn't in there. Is it not called Travel Edition?
I think it's Travel Azul, I think is what it is, but I don't know, maybe.
No.
I mean, they have travel versions of everything, but I think the original Azul is the best Azul. I know people are going to fight me on that one probably. Some people like Queen's Garden more or whatever not, but that one, for my money, is one that I can show to non-gamers and they'll be blown away by the complexity, but they'll get it and they'll be able to play.
This game.
And I'm excited for Azul Duel coming out. By the way, I got to check that one. I'm excited for that one too.
Yeah. Yeah, and there are people that like Azul, and there are people that don't.
Yeah, totally get that. But that's the great thing about our hobby is that there are so many games out there. If you don't like something, don't worry about it. Like just play other things. Like there are people out in the world that hate trick-taking games, but other ones love them. And I'm a lover of trick-taking games. So if you want a trick-taking game, I got one for you here too.
I like trick-takers.
I got Fox in the Forest for the 2-player. Yeah. And I like the original Fox in the Forest because it's an attacking 2-player versus a cooperative. I like that one a lot. So Fox in the Forest will be there. If you have a foursome or a threesome, Yokai Septet is my choice for the other side of things. But yeah, Fox in the Forest is a brilliant 2-player game. Very simple, very elegant, tactically surprising in you have to constantly be changing whether you want to win a trick or don't want to win a trick.
Right.
And this deck of cards is tiny. It is not even a tuck box. You could put this in another tuck box and take it with you. It's great.
That's a good one. What was the other one you said after Fox in the Forest?
Yokai Septet. And I am not personally a fan of the art, although people love AI Yokai Septet.
I don't know this one at all.
Oh, this is a great one. Okay, so this one's very interesting because each of the suits is 7 cards, but the 7 falls in a different spot. So like one of the suits, I think green is 1 through 7, and the next one is 2 through 8, and the next one is 3 through 9, and so on. And you're playing a trick-taking game. So if I lead the black, you got to follow with the black. But the whole point of this game is to catch the 7s.
Huh.
So you want to play. You don't really want to play the 7 of the green initially, even though it's the highest card, because the 1 of green wins everything. So you have to be careful when you lead stuff to make sure that you're not giving away points. You want to win it, so you're going to get them, or your partner's going to get them. In a 4-player game, you have to count on your partner to do things, and so there's that same communication of things. But also, the further the 7 is at the top, the less points it's worth. So the less likely you are to win the trick with the 7 itself, the more points you get back. So where the 7 is actually the bottom is worth 2 points. The one with the top is not. But it's the first team to get 4 of the 7 ends the hand, and they win, and they get the number of points based on which 7s they captured. So there's this really cool push and pull with, I'm going to concede this 7 to get that out of your hand so that I can then win with this 7, because you no longer have the thing you need for that anymore. This is this really great little game. And they have the foil cards in there. So the 7s stand out on being this kind of cool, like bigger artwork, kind of jump off the page kind of thing. And it's just a brilliant design that I wish I'd come up with myself.
I love this on the card.
Yep.
Knowing where it is in this, like, that's really
knowing the strength. Yeah.
What a great addition. I mean, that's a Matt Paquette level kind of.
It is. And Seas of Strife does that. Texas Showdown did that and stuff like that. I have a game that I do that with because I stole it directly from this. But yeah, nice. I really love this. And I actually made, for my friends who's a Pokemon person, I made a Yokai Septet with Pokemon, because they didn't like the Japanese anime on here. So I actually created as a gift. I made them the Pokai Septet instead of Yokai Septet.
That's cool. Yeah, that one I don't know. That one's got to get on my list.
And you do not need the stars. That's for just keeping track of points, but you don't actually need those. You could, take a pencil and a pen and a deck of cards, and you're good.
Right. That's good. That's a good one. What else?
You want more? I got more.
Give me 2 more.
All right. Let's not go with more trick-taking games. I feel like I got enough of those. Okay, here's a classic one that most people don't know about. People who like Puerto Rico, right?
Yeah.
There's a travel version. It's called San Juan.
San Juan. Yeah.
Just cards only and a little stock market.
Yep.
But this is definitely a one you can put in a bag, and the box is bigger than it should be. But this is a very cool little engine builder as well, where you're paying cards to build the other thing. And so you're constantly doing that push and pull thing again, where like, I want to buy this, but I have to get rid of these to pay for it. And then I'm also trying to figure out, when I want to do the producer or when I want to do the trader to cash them in.
Right.
And I do things on my turn, but you get to follow and do the action as well. So there's that kind of espionage kind of thing where like, I need to do this, but if I wait another turn or two, you're probably going to do it and I can do it for half. And for me, San Juan beats Puerto Rico. I don't need to play Puerto Rico ever again if I have San Juan.
That's good. That's big. More compact, still pretty good punch.
Yeah, but also because there's so many cards in there and they all do different things, just like that before, you're only going to see 2/3 of the deck at most.
Right.
So you can't count on the things you absolutely need to see.
Right.
And that's cool. I really like that happens.
Yeah. That's good. Good pick on that one for sure.
All right. You want another one that does the tucking thing?
Yes. That sounds weird, but yes.
Another one I would do then is Innovation or Glory to Rome. Do a Carl Chuddock and toss it up there.
Oh, I could talk about Innovation. I got a great story about Innovation.
Oh, I want to hear stories about Innovation. This is cool. I'm glad I opened this can of worms.
I might have told it on the show before. Yeah, this was a good one. I remember being introduced to this one. The combo nature of it and the way things like that text speed. Yep.
And then the upgrading and the moving through time and the getting better cards, but then giving up certain cards in order to make other cards more valuable and just really, really cool. And once again, I think it has a table. Like you can't play this in a small space. You got to have like a dining room table or not. But if you're on a cruise ship and it's a rainy day or not, and everybody's tucked inside, you go find a little table in the corner. Break this out, and you got a nice, meaty, crunchy game in 45 minutes, which I think is great.
No, it's a good one.
Now, some people swear Glory to Rome is better. I feel like either one of these is a great pick. It's just your personal preference. But Glory to Rome is almost impossible to find, so you're going to have to pay a heftier price to get it. So I'm more than okay with getting Innovation for 15 versus Glory to Rome for 200.
Yeah, Glory to Rome is a grail game for most. It's definitely hard to find. I mean, you're spending a good amount. I mean,
actually pretty good.
That's not $100 for it, is it? Depending on which edition, right? There's multiple editions.
And you want also one. There's a cartoony one that I absolutely cannot stand.
There's also this one, if my thing would load, that I've heard as well.
Oh, okay. I don't know this one.
It's Glory to Rome-esque.
Okay.
I don't know if it's more streamlined or what they took out of it, but it's got, like, if you can't find that, this apparently does a lot of the same stuff. It's also Carl's.
Yeah.
And this one's easier to find. This one's much more affordable and easier to get.
For sure. I just picked up a GNC, which is another one of his, from a discount at my local game store, because I was like, oh, all right, I like that whole tucking thing. Let's see what he's doing with this one. I don't know if it's any good or not. I've not played it, but I picked it up. But yeah, I like that combo. I like that mechanism. If he wants to just keep playing with that as a thing forever, I'm okay. Keep buying different things and see which one I like the best.
Right. So Innovation, I was out in Wisconsin with my friend Brad, and his friend came over, and we were playing. I forget what we were playing Blood Rage, and then we played. I think I was showing him my Batman game. We were playing just like whatever we can get our hands in because we don't see each other that often. So
sure, yeah.
And Tim, I think his name was Tim, comes over, and you can just tell like they're not his kind of games. And Brad had warned me, like, he likes a certain type of game. I was, okay. So we're playing a game, and he was just checked out, and he said something to the effect of, like, well, that's what's wrong with these types of games. Like, they just lend themselves to anyone winning, and, like, there's no strategy. You can just luck into whatever. And okay, like, whatever. And I looked at Brad, and we were a couple old fashions in, and he's rolling his eyes, whatever.
Sure.
And if you want to play a game, and he breaks out innovation. I'm like, okay. So I never played it before, and it's me and him heads up, and Brad knows something's coming, and he's ready for, like, the rant of, like, how these games are strategy, and you got to know what you're doing, blah, blah, blah. So he's teaching me the game, and I'm with him, and I'm getting it, and he's, like, almost not condescendingly, but, like, over teaching to make sure I know the rule. Okay, I get it. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
I get the combos. I'm in it. Halfway through the game, I'm fucking housing him. Like,
geez.
The point spread isn't even close. And all of a sudden he goes, and that's the problem with games like these. Anyone can come in and play. And I'm like, I caught Brad's eye. Brad had to get up and leave because he started hysterically laughing because he said exactly what he was saying about the other shit that we were playing.
Right. Yeah.
That game. Yep. It was one of those moments. It lives rent free in my mind that I broke. It was his most perfect game because you had to know the game in order to do well. And I had never played it before. And it was just a beatdown, and it totally flipped him on it. I love that happened.
Well,
I think
that's the Carl Chuddick way, right? Like, if you can't house somebody, then that's not a Carl Chuddick game.
Yep.
Like, it's not about the closeness of the game. It's not that tension-filled moment. It's finding that combo that breaks the game so wide open that somebody should just concede. There's no reason to finish the game at some point.
I found that with him. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if he burnt his copy afterwards, if he threw it out on the way home. I don't know what he did, but I definitely broke him with that one. It was great. Yeah, that's a good one. All right. Before I forget, do the subscribe stuff.
You missed nothing, Evan.
You missed all the things, Evan. Like this.
Yeah, there you go.
What did I miss? Yeah, innovation. Yep. That was the story, was about innovation. Any of his, really. All right. So nope, that's not the button I want to hit. That's the button I want to hit. I can get that off the board. All right, so we're over 2 hours. Andrew, it's always a pleasure. I love you. It's great to see you. Can't wait to hang out with you soon, and we play a lot of these games that we just talked about that you haven't played yet.
Yeah, absolutely. Or whatever hotness. Like, I'm not picky about it. I just need to get these things played at some point. But
have you played Fromage yet?
So I just did the tutorial on Board Game Arena, and I was like, I'm going to get that played there. But yeah, based on the tutorial, I think I'm absolutely picking up that game. I have to make sure that it's in the wheelhouse. And once it's in the wheelhouse, it's getting picked up.
The wheelhouse, the cheese wheelhouse?
Yep. I did it on purpose.
Okay, that was good. I'll bring my copy if you want to play it.
Okay, that sounds great.
I love it. That's going to be my game this year. I think that I play the most of. It's a half an hour, no matter what you're playing with. It's easy to teach and play, and super, super chill. But very thinky. Like, there's a lot going on in the game that you're going to want to play again. Like, it's one of those games you want to just, you want to play right away because you're like, oh, I could do better next time, kind of thing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
All right. Eric, thanks. Good night.
Thank you, everybody. I wasn't paying enough attention to the chat while we were talking. I was too busy focused on all the games. I'm sorry about that, but thank you guys. All good to see you. Appreciate you.
This comes across as a threat.
Oh.
Like, I'll see you tomorrow, Eric.
Ooh, Lord and Lord.
Interesting.
I'm assuming it's play testing, but good to see you, Brandon.
All right, so I'll see you in a couple weeks. I'm not sure what we're doing next week. I know Chris is back, but I'm not necessarily sure what's going on. I know our 200th episode's coming up, and we already talked about doing a banger for that. I know Jeremy Howard's coming on. Jason Headley's coming on. We're getting Aldi back on. So we're getting a bunch of people like this. The start of the 5th season is going to be pretty tight with comeback guests, returning guests for next season. So keep informed. Check us out on the Discord and all the things. Smack a bell. They say there's a bell that you hit to get notified when we go live. I don't know.
Yeah. You click on the little bell and then it sends you. Yeah. Anyway.
Sure.
But Jason Headley is one of my new favorites. I met him at Gen Con shortly after I found him on TikTok or short reels, whatever it was. He's just a lovely, lovely person, and he is exactly that way in person, and I kind of adore him. So I'll be tuning into that one for sure.
Yeah, Jason's fantastic. Jason does a lot of book stuff.
And he does toy openings and stuff like that too.
Whisper, crinkle. Yeah.
Whatever
it's called. But yeah, Jason's got the publishing company where they're publishing books now. The unwrapping of the toys is great, but they got me to buy in on an advent calendar. I don't know if you saw any of the videos of the advent calendars, but they had like 5 different ones going through it. Yeah, the ASMR. And there was one with the rubber ducks, and I got the same one that they were going through, and Luca loves every one of them. The videos are great. I adore him. A fantastic individual, super chill. I can't wait to have them on the show too. So I'm not sure what day or the date, but just keep in touch, or just keep an eye out, and you'll know. But yeah, as always, Andrew, great to see you. I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Be good.
You'll be good as well. Feel better. Drink some juice or whatever you got to do. Get some soup in you.
Drinking so much.
Hopefully the kids don't give you another one after it.
No, they hurt me bad last weekend. Yeah, yep. I gotta kick it soon, right? It's lingering too much. I don't know if it's the Syracuse weather with it was 50 degrees and 20 degrees and 50 degrees and 20 degrees. Like that's just
the seesaw. Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, we finally got, the real snowfall and the lake effect and all the good stuff. And I was sick last weekend and I'm out shoveling. So I'm sure that didn't help much, but I'll be good.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Really appreciate you tuning in, and we'll see you all soon. Hopefully at one of the cons. Come and see me.
Yeah. We had a bunch of stuff coming up. But yeah, one of the cons for sure. We got to talk. Well, we have to have you on the show again. Sure. There's more to talk about.
Always.
Yep. All right. So I'm going to click a button and then it's going to kick us out for a minute while it does the end show. And if I do it correctly, I should just be a one click, but we'll see what happens. Night, folks.
It works. Good night, guys.
Maybe it's this button.